I'm VJ Hamilton and welcome to the Autoimmne RESET, the place for you to learn how to thrive with autoimmune disease and feel empowered to take steps to transform your health to feel better than ever. You can start making changes today to improve your health. So with every episode, my mission is to share with you simple ways to up-level your diet and lifestyle with key learnings from my own journey reversing autoimmune disease and inspirational stories from those who have reset their autoimmune symptoms and are now thriving in life. I suffered from autoimmune disease for over 25 years and now I live symptom-free, and I wish the same for you as well. So thank you for being here and sharing this time with me. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome to today's Friday 5 episode, and today I want to talk to you about the potential causes of vertigo and how inflammation is linked to all of these conditions that cause vertigo. And that's what I look for when I'm working with clients. I'm looking for the underlying root cause, and inflammation is a key theme in all the different potential root causes of vertigo. I know my nana used to experience vertigo and she would go to bed for a couple of days and she never actually discovered what the cause was. But it is crucial to work with your doctors to understand what the root cause of your vertigo is, because there are different therapies that you would use dependent on what the cause is. And that goes for nutrition as well. So let's start with the first cause of vertigo. It's called Benign Paroxysmal Positional Vertigo. And I've worked with a few clients recently who have had this. And what happens with this condition, which is often referred to as BPPV, is that it occurs when tiny calcium crystals formed in the inner ear and they become dislodged and they move into the ear canal, and that can cause an issue with movement and with balance and can cause that sensation of vertigo. So if you haven't experienced vertigo, it's way beyond just feeling dizzy. There is a sensation that your surroundings are spinning, that you're moving when no movement is actually occurring, and it can have a big impact in your life. I know my brother, who has multiple sclerosis, would experience vertigo, and when he had a flare, it was one of the most challenging symptoms that he had to deal with because it affected his whole life. Now, the good thing about BPPV, which is a bit of a tongue twister, is that there is a maneuver that you can do. So you can work with a specialist who can help you with the Epley maneuver, and that can help dislodge the crystals and reposition them, which can help with the symptoms of BPPV. And I'm going to be speaking about Menieres in a moment, but I was working with a client who had Menieres disease and had a diagnosis of Menieres disease and had an episode of vertigo and just put it down to the Menieres, but it was actually BPPV. And once she had the maneuver, she was a lot better and her symptoms of vertigo went away. So next we have Menieres, which is a chronic condition which affects the inner ear, and it's characterized by episodes of vertigo, hearing loss, tinnitus is a major symptom of it, and a feeling of fullness or pressure in the ears. Now, the exact cause of Menieres is not known. Inflammation is at the heart of it, and also it is often thought to be an autoimmune disease as well. There are various ways that I approach it when I'm working with clients who have Menieres disease, and we really look at what the underlying root cause could be. And it may be that some of these other causes of vertigo are linked to Menieres as well, but often what I'm seeing is there's food sensitivities, there's gut dysbiosis, there's leaky gut syndrome, potentially a leaky blood-brain barrier, and those are things that we can work on from a nutrition and lifestyle perspective as well. The next cause of vertigo is vestibular neuritis, and this is 100% due to inflammation. And what happens is there is a nerve that is affected by inflammation, the vestibular nerve, and it sends information to the inner ear, to the brain about balance, and that can cause those symptoms of vertigo. Now, one of the causes of this is a viral infection like the common cold or flu, and it can also lead to symptoms of nausea and difficulty with balance, which you often see with vertigo. But what can happen with this type of vertigo is as you get better, you may find that your symptoms of vertigo improve. Unfortunately, what can happen with some people is you may be in a state of having a chronic infection, and that's when you may find that your symptoms don't improve or you keep having flares of vertigo. And that's when I would say to look into chronic infections and whether you have a high viral load, which is something I looked into. Luckily, I never experienced vertigo, but I have experienced issues with my ears and tinnitus, and bacteria and viruses can play a role in that, because bacteria can get to that inner ear canal, and that can cause issues as well and can affect the little hairs that are in the lining of the ear which help you with balance. And that can cause an issue too. So that's worth looking into, especially if you have experienced vertigo after having a virus. The next cause are migraines, and when you have severe migraines, they can also lead to vertigo, and this is known as a vestibular migraine, and they can actually occur without a headache, so you can just have the dizziness, but you'll also have that sensitivity to light and sound and nausea, which often comes with a migraine. Now, the mechanism of this is not fully understood, and as with migraines, I have done a previous podcast episode on migraines if you want to go back and listen to that, because there are numerous factors that can be at play. I know I experienced migraines when I was living in a house that had a lot of mold in it, and I expect mold toxicity was at the heart of it, but there were many other causes of migraines, including nutrient deficiencies, stress, chronic infections, and issues in your gut. So you need to look into lots of different systems and understand what might be the trigger of your own migraines, if that is what is causing your vertigo. Now, one final cause that you might be less aware of is adrenal insufficiency. And the adrenal glands produce hormones like cortisol, which is often referred to as the stress hormone. Cortisol has been seen as almost something that is bad, because we know when we have chronic stress, we produce a lot of cortisol, and that can happen especially in the early stages of stress, that we're producing too much cortisol. But we do need cortisol, and when we're not producing enough cortisol, it can affect our metabolism, our immune response, and our stress response. And I find a lot of my clients will come to me when they have just become completely stress intolerant and they become anxious over very small things, and that can be a sign of adrenal insufficiency. But one of the symptoms of adrenal insufficiency is dizziness and vertigo. And I remember working with someone many years ago, it was actually before I was a nutritionist, and they were training for a marathon, and they asked me for some advice because they'd started with this dizziness and they were unable to come to work, and he was working for me at the time, and obviously I was trying to help him as much as possible with his health, but he found that he had adrenal insufficiency, and it was from marathon training. And what can happen is the body can struggle to maintain blood pressure and balance due to a lack of adequate hormone production. And I think with adrenal insufficiency, it plays into some of these other causes of vertigo. And that's why when I'm working with clients who have vertigo as one of their main symptoms, we're going to be exploring their adrenal health and their stress response, because often this is a contributing factor, if not the root cause of their vertigo. So vertigo, as you can see, can have many causes. If you do start to experience any dizziness, I recommend going to your doctor straight away and finding out what might be causing it so you can take action. You can also do a lot from a nutritional perspective, and if you have any of these conditions and you would like to find out more about natural therapies that can help, then feel free to contact me. You can go over to my Instagram account, which is at the Autoimmune Nutritionist, or feel free to book a free initial consultation with me, and you will find the link to do that in the show notes. If not, have a fantastic weekend, and I will speak to you soon. Take care. Thank you very much for joining me today on the Autoimmne RESET. I really hope you enjoyed the discussion, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode. And if you liked it, I would hugely appreciate a review on iTunes, as it helps me understand what you like about the podcast and to help share the information with more people. I'm excited to speak to you next time, and remember, you have the power to take the reins on your health. So keep the faith and celebrate the small wins. Until next time.